I fell in love with a married man. He challenged me to be more daring. I made a hat out of buffalo leather. The leather had lots of scratches and scars. Looking for answers, I made a trip. My friend Grietje invited me to Amsterdam. My father told me to feel free, just like he had freed himself. I now had a little sister on my shoulders. I left. At the farewell party at work, I received money for books. I bought the ultimate survival book, the last Whole Earth catalog. In Amsterdam, I had plans for work and I had thoughts about self-esteem. I cooked for Grietje and her Czech boyfriend. We drank coffee from subtly elegant coffee cups. Amsterdam was really nice. At the Albert Kuip market, I bought leather for a sexy little top. A Czech friend came to visit. I looked into his eyes and I thought, oh boy. He looked at me and he thought, Jezus Maria. He was about to leave for the USA. We, the ones who were walking away, had this bold feeling about our lives. We needed very few words. We made a drawing in the sand of the Kennemerduinen. I discovered my talents, making books, writing, editing. The only worry was, did I get a letter from the Czech friend? Living in Amsterdam took its toll. I moved 5 times in 3 years. I visited the Czech friend in the United States. We made a trip with the Greyhound bus. We now needed a lot more words. Sometimes there were long silences. When I'm 60, will I feel sorry about a job or about a boy? The boy won. I wrote a letter. That same day I sleepily answered a phone call, but the Czech caller had just hung up. The Czech friend studied and wrote. His work consisted of a stack of punch cards to be fed in the huge computer. I filled notebooks with patchwork designs. We had no family around, willingly and unwillingly. We decided to get married. Our honeymoon was to New York. On the Twin Towers we were small like ants. The work was done and we went back to Holland. The Czech friend wanted just one thing, good work. I wanted just one thing, children. A blue-eyed girl arrived. She loved to be thrown in the air. A brown-eyed girl arrived. Her first words were, very nice, when confronted with a boiled egg. The Czech family now became part of our lives. We spent whole summers at the farm, with chickens, rabbits, pigs, and an orchard with a wooden garden house, and grandma and grandpa in the neighborhood all the time. We bought a house that was almost above our budget. I complained to a friend. He wants so much, too much, baby. The friend said, let him, don't stop him. A pleasant routine evolved in our life. We were making lots of drawings. We played hairdresser, and we even had our own just like yesterday hairdo. I sang in a choir, but only half-heartedly. Someone told me, you want too much, that's why you have no fun. So I started my own choir, a very serious choir. A sudden craze, patchwork. I now could put my talents to good use, making patchwork, writing, selling quilts. I made a quilt that ended up in the offices of President Havel. Your children will come to no good, my mother said after a very cozy birthday. I asked how she could say such a thing. That is because I am so very jealous, she said. I decided to cut off the communication with her. I was busy with the usual family stuff. Once in a while I would break away by going all the way to Utrecht on my bike. I realized that I should not stay away from my mother. She would sit in her kitchen and talk about her life. She was the oldest daughter in a family with 8 children. At Santa Claus evening, every child would get her own plate with sweet candy. We traveled to upstate New York to show our children where our living together had begun. I now also saw the other rooms of her apartment. She was expecting a friend. The bed was made, but the space underneath was filled with enormous packages of food. I worked as the hairdresser for the homeless. One customer wanted to pay for his haircut by letting me pick a poem. That is how I got to know Ferdinand Pessoa. There are illnesses worse than illnesses. Pains exist that do not hurt, not even in the soul, but more painful than all others. Mom said that a great job had been finished in her storeroom. The storeroom was filled with stock of all kinds. I finally also got me some real iron rations, she said. As a child, you can only look at your parents in one way. I run a loop on the Tafelberg every week. I see a broad oak tree with lots of green. I once went the other way around, and now I saw the same tree from the darker side, twice hit by lightning. Mom died of a heart attack after she had been eating her heart out at Sinterklaas evening. Dad went to church at Christmas night, and there he fell down with heart failure. Dad was for me the most lovable man when he did something just for fun, like acting out how a chestnut tree suddenly opens in spring. "Your house is on fire," someone yelled. At such an instant, sudden, deep instincts come into action. We instantly knew that we could trust one another. "I am such a lucky girl," I said to the table where the guests had sat down for my 60th birthday. They were my brothers and sisters, our daughters and their partners, the parents of those partners, and the Czech brothers who had come over for the occasion. I explained the strengths that I derived from these relationships. I saw my life in images. These images I embroidered in the first half of my 62nd year.